Okay, here is the bush. Okay, so you can see the bush. I'll come around here. We've got the standard bush sitting in the homemade bush that I took out 2.2 inches. And up the top there was a little gap up in there. So when I pushed the bush in, I used some, it's JB Weld. It's like a DevCon, it's a epoxy product. And all I was looking to do was to support the back of this bush. And look, it's done it nicely. It's the full thickness all the way. And so yeah, I'm not too worried about that at all. Now, there's the bush in the other piece. So what I need to do now is I'll bring the axle out, and now that's pressed in and it's had 24 hours to dry, I'm going to measure inside here, inside this standard bush, and then I'll measure the pin and I'll work out the size to make a bush to press onto the axle itself. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm up at the front carport and the little machine shop's just over there. It's just handy, I've taken the cars out and I've got the forklift with a pallet and they're all sitting up here. So I'll just check that that's 0. Yep, that's 0. I'll find a place where it's not hitting the housing here. Hear that thunder in the background. That's about 1.873. 1.874. So I imagine it's supposed to be 1.875, and we've just pulled a little bit out of that, pressing it in. I'll just check around this way as well. I can get a clearer run this side actually. 1.876. So this is a clearer run from around there. So I believe, I'll just check that again. 1.876. Okay, so write that down. So 1.876 is our OD. Now, the ID, .642. 1.642. 1.642. 1.6415. 1.642. So the ID is 1.642. So that gives us about 230 thou thickness of the bush. So 234 thou. So that gives us about an 1/8 on each side here. So look, that's no worries. So if I make the bush, I'll put a little chamfer at the back here so I can push down, press down over here. We'll use a bit of Loctite retaining compound. We'll bring it down as far as we can here. Now the depth is 1.42 inches. So we'll write that 1.42 long. Alright, so that should be okay. So the axle actually has to go up the other way. This piece here with the bush sits in there. We do have to drill right through here yet. I haven't drilled this sleeve of this bush I made, and the bush here, that's the standard bush that I've put in, the hole's open here, but I'm going to have to deal with that one way or another. As you can see, I think you can see it's sticking out the front here. So I've made it level with the back. So the front here was where that washer was at the front that I can deal with hopefully. So anyway, we won't worry about that just yet. I will get this little bush machined up and yeah, we'll press that on there and see what we got from there. Okay, we're back on the lathe, and look, I'm just going to take a quick cut across the end here to make sure it's squared. This is an old bit of shaft. Now I'm hoping that I can get my, what do I have to get, 1.876 on the OD cleaning this up. If not, I'll have to find something else, but I might just take a light cut and see how I go with it, I suppose. Nice and smooth in there, but I must have that wrong last time. Right, it's just the smallest bit of crap there still, but it's close enough that I can take a bit of a measurement here. 1.990. What have I got? 1.876. So look, I've got a little bit there. I may just clean it up if I'm lucky. I'll just check it around here. .876, so I've got about 100 there I can go, so look, I'm pretty confident that'll tidy up okay. Okay, look, that's not too bad. I've still got a bit of a centre there, but I can probably grab that with my little boring bar and just try and true that up a little bit. Okay, that's trued that hole up. That little singing you could hear, they're not supposed to do that. It's just letting everyone know that I've got a shit setup, really. Oh my god with that. Okay, so now if I bring this up, I should be able to get a big centre drill. Oh, this fella here will do nicely, nice solid fella. Bring that up into the centre. Dropping back to low. So there you go, our centre should be on centre. Bloody beautiful. Just beautiful. Now, what have I got to bang up that? We'll try old Big Bertha here. Last time Big Bertha wasn't too bloody sharp really. But anyway, I'm just going to try and go through with it if I can. Sharp. Really ain't cutting on one side. Okay, I'll get this one out of the way. And I should have a nice boring bow sitting here that I used on the other sections. Lock him in. Alright, I'll give this a run through and see how we go, eh? I might speed him up again. Okay, you know the drum. I'll get this out close to 164.2. So if we're going 164.2, I'll probably take it at 164 or 164.1 and give it a probably 1 thou, maybe 2 thou interference. I can always heat this up to drop it on, so we'll be back when we get closer. Okay, look, we're bang on 1.642 on the ID here, so that's lovely. I'm just going to put a chamfer here now to allow for the bit of weld and that's left down on the shoulder there. So I think that's okay. So we got a nice chamfer, so the ID's done. Now the OD I've left oversized until I machined everything else down. And so at the moment I'm sitting at 1.9 1.982. I can just get a bit of a feel for that. Yeah, 1.983. So we have to go 1.876. So we've got a little bit to go. I'll pull some of this junk out of here. I'll square my tool up once more. Once I square this tool up, it should be okay then for what was I going to say? For parting off. That's what I was going to say. Okay, so if I bring the tool, that's just touching there, and I'm looking for 1.42 long, so I'll come in Yeah, look, I've got plenty of room. Just checking. Just checking. So I've got a bit to come out of here, so it might be a sharp edge here. I may have to just dock a little bit off. I probably should have left that till last. So, okay. So 1.876 is what we're going for. 1.98 we'll call that. So we'll just do a little run here. Okay, so leaving the tool exactly where it is, I can come down. And we are 1.967. I'll just check our zero. Yep. 1.967. So X 1.967. Enter. So I'll try and get to 1.88 and we'll have a look from there. I can nearly touch it. Almost touch it. Whoa. Who made that hot like that? Okay, that's our bush. It's got a bit of heat in it. I should probably just go and see if I can drop it on using that heat. Hang on a sec. Okay, there you go. That's the new surface. Now, I did have to take a fucking smidgen off there. It was just too tight to come in here, so I dropped it another 5 thou just to make sure there was plenty. We weren't jiggling and buggering around trying to get it in too much. Now, if I have that right, I should be able to, at this stage, turn this over. I've got no lube on it yet, I just don't want to make a big mess. You have to watch my back for a second. Look at that, there you go. That's right in. I'll take the camera off the mount here. Have a look under there. So yeah, look, that's sitting right home. You've got to be happy with that. Now, it turns well. Alright, that's okay. Now, the other thing I was going to look at was where the stops are here, where the axle's been hitting there. That looks to be in the same position as it was. Okay. There's a little, I can just feel see a little bit of movement there, that's fine. Alright, what I might do now is I'll put the camera back on the stand, I'll sit this fellow on here and we'll just see how we're looking there, eh? Okay, I've got the whole lot buttoned up again. Now this surface here that was worn and chomped up, I've smoothed that out with a grinder as far as I'm game. The front washer that goes on here to hold it forward to take the end float out, I've machined that flat. If you remember, that had a big scarp in it. And this back bush that we've just done, we have a gap there which is, well, let's say 5 millimetres, 5 or 6 mil, and then at the back here we have enough coming out here. So when we bring the axle forward so that the plate here lines up with that, originally in behind the front here they had this washer. So if I bring this flat with no shims as a wear surface for the front, and I machine up another washer here, the right thickness, like we should be able to get that pretty accurate, and for the axle to have, oh, so yeah, half a mil, 10-20 thou forward and back movement, there's nothing wrong there at all. So that sits in there nicely at the moment. It's running nicely, it's lining up properly down the bottom there. So I think all we have to do now is, I suppose, bring this forward, which it is, bolt this plate up if I can, and where's the other screw, Lance? There it is. And once we machine this, or we get this up snug with no shims, I'm going to try and not use shims if I can. We'll get this right up as far as it'll go for us. I'll try and bring him up even if I can. Oh, I got one hand, the other one's holding the camera. Doesn't matter. Jeez, it's muggy. We have, if I go up through the back there, we've got a storm sitting out there rumbling away. So I'm in the carport here, trying to look busy in case some bugger's watching, eh? Okay, so we'll just nip that up. And if we work this axle backwards now, and we get that back as far as we can with a healthier screwdriver than that one, and we measure that gap, that should give us a means to take the end play out, and that axle will be floating at the back there on the full surface of the bush. I'll have to pull it apart and run down through these bushes. So, see how we go. I'll do a bit of a measurement and I'll come back shortly. Okay, so I've got the mighty Stanley screwdriver, and if we hold that right back as much as we can, and we come in there, that gives us 0.222 of an inch. I'll just come over here. So we go 0.25. No, we can't go 0.250. So if we make about a little over 200 mil, 200 thou spacer, that's 182. So if we go 220 thou, I think we'll have about 5 or 6 thou. Yeah, look, it'll be close. We'll radius that back edge, and that'll get it running on this surface here and this front surface here that's had this washer running on it all of that time. So okay, so we'll turn that off. I think the next thing to do will be to head into the lathe and make one of these up around 220 thou thick. Okay, so we've got our gap at the back here still, and it's still sticking out the back, so I've got full support. I've done away with all the shims. I've never been that keen on shims in things for this sort of thing. So with this machined here, this washer now made at 222 thousandths of an inch. I popped a tad of grease on there. This is all bolted down tight. Actually, this bolt at the back could do with a little bit of a nip up. And there's our axle. Now there's no end float there at all. This fella here is, I'll just check this again. That's good. So it might be a 15th too tight. We're not going to worry though. With the weight of the tractor on there, and if I can turn that easy, you know, just one hand back and forth. There is a bit of drag there, it's not just slopping around, but I think with this steel washer, it's jammed onto the axle housing here, and with it running back and forth here, I think we'll have a bit of clearance there in no time at all. So when we have a look around the back, so I'll go handheld again for a moment. So out the back there we still have a full bush plus some, so that's the full standard bush. We have a bit of movement there, and we have the 222 thou shim here, and this is machined flat. So that's nice and firm there now. I can do it by hand quite easily. So look, I'm going to call that done. I think that's a good fix. That'll last many years. So now all I need to do, you can see where someone's, I'll put a chain or something through here. I'll come around. Yeah, you can see these marks in through here. So I'm going to grind all this nice and flat and sand it all while it's in pieces, and I'll probably try and get my bead blast cabinet, get a dryer on there. You can see where someone's had a chain or something around here as well. So I'll probably just get the grinder and bring these both down level just to try and take all those humps and hollers off. Not that you'll probably see it because this is the bottom of the axle through here, but oh, it's good to have it nice. So while I've got it apart now, I'll drill down through these grease nipples. I'll replace these grease nipples with new ones, and yeah, look, that's a pretty good fix, I reckon. I'm happy with that. So took a while. My little mill was flat looking after the job, but my lathe buggered around with it okay. So yeah, we're going to call that done.